Hello, third graders, and welcome to Writer's Workshop for today. We're going to continue looking at narrative writing. Remember that in narrative writing, you are the main character and the story is true. It's a true story about you for a personal narrative. Now, we also looked at some examples of how to start a personal narrative and get the audience attention. We can use sounds, questions, actions, and dialogue. In our last lesson, we looked at how dialogue can be used in a writing, and that dialogue is what a character says in the story. Today, we're going to be looking at punctuating dialogue. That's how we put punctuation into the dialogue. We use 4 steps to punctuate dialogue. To begin, we can underline the area that the character says. So in this sentence right here, I love to swing at the playground, said Anna. I'm going to apply these steps as we go along. So first I can underline, I know she says, I love to swing at the playground. That's what Anna says. The second step is make sure that there are quotation marks around that area. Okay, so I'm going to make sure that there are quotation marks around where she is talking, and I do that by clicking Shift and then where the apostrophe is. So now this doesn't have to stay underlined. I just underlined it to see where she is talking. So that's step number 2, quotation marks around what they say. I'm going to expand this so we can see it a little better. Go. The next thing is to check if the tag is at the beginning or the end. The tag is who is saying it. So who said, I love to swing at the playground? Anna. Said Anna. So this is the tag and it's at the end. Then we add the appropriate punctuation. Now, if the tag is at the end, the punctuation for these sentences change. If it is a complete sentence and we would put a period at the end, we just put a comma. So if it's a complete sentence, and normally if it was not said by someone, we would put a period, we just use a comma before the quotations. If it is exclamatory, we would add an exclamation point, or interrogative, we would add a question mark. So let's see what we would add here. I love to swing at the playground. This would be a comma. Normally we would put a period, but because the sentence keeps going, we use a comma right before the quotation marks. Then we can finish the sentence, said Anna, and make sure we have our period at the end. Let's look at the next one. Underline the area that the character says. Josh screamed, I am open over here. So he screamed, this is what he said. Okay, so I found what he said. Make sure that there are quotation marks around the underlined area. So I need to put quotation marks around what he said. Okay, check. Step 3, check if the tag is at the beginning or the end. So for this one, the tag is at the beginning. If the tag is at the beginning, we always add a comma right before the quotation. So you can see right here, we have the comma right before the quotation. In the second sentence, I asked, comma, and then what they said. And at the very bottom, she exclaimed, comma, and then the quotations. So my tag, who said it, is at the beginning. So I'll add a comma. Remember, commas always like to be attached, so there's no space between screamed and the comma. And then my quotations. Now add the appropriate punctuation. So inside the quotation, it's just like a normal sentence if the tag is at the beginning. So let me read the sentence and see what I have to put at the end. I am open over here. So that's probably going to be an exclamation point. Today for your activity, you are going to be practicing these steps and figuring out which one is written correctly. So on your class kick, you have each one of these on there. And I want you to use the same application. For example, we can underline what they said. I did it, she exclaimed. Okay, so I did it is what they said. So are there quotation marks before and after what they said? No, so it's definitely not that one. Let's look at the second one. I did it, she exclaimed. So I'll underline what she said. Okay, so step 1, make sure that there's quotation marks before and after. Yep, there are. And it's an exclamation point, so that is inside the apostrophe, but inside the quotation marks, so that is also correct. She exclaimed. So that one looks pretty close. Let's check this next one. I did it. That should have an exclamation part because that's something she exclaimed. That means it's really loud. So she would not put the exclamation point at the end. There would be a period at the end. So this one is not correct. So the correct answer is B. So for the next 3, you will be underlining and checking if they are written correctly with those 3 steps. You can check the steps on the top of the page if you forgot.